What's the most are you really that stupid thing you've ever heard? I'm late, but my mother once years ago said cats are cold-blooded because they like to lay in the Sunday. We immediately said, what? No, did you go to school? 4 or 5 months ago she doubled down on this, stating the exact thing for the exact reason. I told her, are you cold-blooded because you like to sunbathe? She still thinks cats are cold-blooded. Someone in my freshman year college class, Professor, do you think dinosaurs existed? Professor, there seems to be a lot of evidence in favor of that conclusion. What do you think? Someone, I don't think they did. I mean, how do we know they were called dinosaurs? They could have been called anything. In high school, when this girl found out prisoners used to be sent to Australia, she said that's stupid, they could just swim back to Europe. In high school during global studies we were talking about South America and this chick asked which country was Africa. Even being told it's a separate continent and shown on a map, she continued to argue for 20 minutes saying it was a small country in South America. When I worked at a call center and someone said Q for cucumber to me. Cucumber. Ever hear of those shitty free online IQ tests? My friend took one of these, but the one she took was even worse than the regular ones. It was obviously not a valid IQ test and probably made by either a 12-year-old, a drunk person, or a drunk 12-year-old. Anyways, one question was, what is your favorite food out of these 4? Which was already a really bad question. I didn't think it would get worse until I saw what do you think of the iPhone. I don't remember the 4th option, but out of I love the iPhone, it's good technology, and what's an iPhone? The smartest choice was what's an iPhone? Ridiculous, your IQ is higher by being ignorant of the world around you. Anyways, to the main point, she got a high score and put it on her resume. I unfortunately can't find the IQ test. From a customer, how do you type a capital 4? Girl I used to date was convinced that used cars came with insurance. We went out to look at cars for her one weekend, and on the way to the first lot, it came up in conversation. She absolutely did not believe me to the point that it was almost an argument. Salesman told her the same thing, so she demanded we go to another dealership. We visited 4 dealerships that day and all of them told her the same thing. Relationship didn't last much longer, but earlier this year she was pulled over and arrested for a litany of offenses including a DUI, but surprise, she had no auto insurance. I was driving with my mother on a pitch black night. My mother said the stars weren't out because there was no moon for them to reflect off of. Love you, mom. I work at an animal shelter and a woman asked me if we had any dogs that didn't poop. I told her no, all dogs poop. So she asked about cats. I knew a guy in high school who thought, in Asian women only, that the urethra, vagina, and anus were arranged horizontally, something like leg, urethra, vagina, anus, leg. He was stunned when we went over female anatomy during our senior year. Blowing balloons up with my own air, no gas etc. with my wife prior to a party. Wife, no. Don't blow the balloons that fall to the floor. Blow up the floating balloons. Me, what? You need to use helium for that. Wife, no, you're just not bothering, that's what it is. My sister's friend, who is 22, believes that why you fly in an airplane, once you are in the air you just levitate there, and the earth rotates under you. When the plane is over the destination the plane lowers again and that's what happens. She wants to be a teacher. A woman once asked me if Antarctica was really hot because Mexico is south of us and it's really hot and other countries are south of us and they're really hot too. This woman was 40 years old. My friend thought due to time zone differences between the US and the UK you could place a bet in the UK on an NFL game that had happened in the US and cheat the system because it hadn't happened yet in the UK. A previous coworker of mine thought that when looking at images of hurricanes, what she was seeing was the ocean swirling and not clouds. She had a bachelor's degree. I once heard a girl say that she doesn't believe in miscarriages. Edit. Another good one is that if she asks, is something's gluten-free, she asks, is that gluten? Meaning the exact opposite. She also said she is going to become a Navy SEAL. She is not in the Navy. We were out of state and she said, oh wow, wild cows. They were not wild cows. I remember sitting in a world civ class in high school and a girl in my class asked how people outside of the US lived since they were in a desert. The teacher tried to have her clarify which desert or deserts, to which the girl responded with, the one outside the US. She was convinced that every single nation outside of the US was comprised solely of deserts, and that any major city she had heard of, that is London, Paris, etc., were actually US cities. While in a really long car trip with my parents, we were discussing countries we'd like to visit. My mother said she'd like to visit Japan to see the Great Wall of China. My dad and I don't let her forget. My 22-year-old niece said she didn't want to see a female gynecologist because she would turn into a lesbian after the doctor examined her. There's always a 50% chance of rain. Think about it, it will either rain or it won't, so that's gotta always be 50%. Someone once asked me and my twin sister if we don't mistake ourselves for the other one. I like to think she was joking, but I don't think she was. During a color war trivia game at summer camp, we were asked to name places the Olympics has been held. Someone mentioned Athens and the girl next to me started to lose her mind laughing. I asked her why, and she responded, "Isn't Athens that place from Harry Potter?" I had a customer yell at me that their donuts were supposed to be buy one get one free instead of half price. I had to explain how 1/2 plus 1/2 was 1. Never understood it, and just sneered back quote whatever at me, and had me cancel their order. Someone in high school thought she couldn't get pregnant because she never did anal, only PIV sex. When questioned about it, it made perfect sense to her because the vagina isn't where the babies come from. She thought women pooped out babies. Okay, so there was this mother that I once met. I'll call her Karen. So Karen is your typical MLM mom. She's in like 3 of them, including an essential oil one. One day, her son gets sick. Instead of getting cold medicine or whatever, she feeds him essential oils. Of course, he gets sicker, so the school he goes to treats him right. After hearing about this, his mom said, and I quote, "Don't give him that. The big pharma chemicals will make him immune to the essential oils." My wife was telling her sorority sisters about how she was allergic to wheat. One of the girls responded with, "Why don't you just eat white bread instead then? What do you think it's made of? White?" When I was in high school history class, this dumb as a brick girl asked our teacher, who was from the South, but we weren't even remotely close to the South, still no excuse, if she'd ever owned a slave. This middle-aged woman I work with at a fast food place was drinking a glass of super sweet tea when these words came out of her mouth. "My doctor said that I may have diabetes. I don't understand how. I never eat sugar." Meanwhile, watching a semi-friend do 10 separate ATM transactions. Why are you taking out $200 from the ATM in $20 increments? You are just adding up the $2.50 fee. Semi-friend, it all adds up in the long run. Me, no shit. It adds up to you wasting money. Semi-friend, no. Trust me, it adds up. Phone customer, can I pay with cash over the phone? Me. While discussing taking a girls trip and going on a cruise, my friend once said, "I think it would be pretty easy. We could just get a cruise out of Dallas." Everyone paused. Her husband then broke the silence with, "That is our marriage summed up into one sentence." Worked with someone who would say it's Friday somewhere, unironically on Tuesdays. World history class in high school. This girl really asked how we won the American Revolution when the Germans had airplanes. I had to remember to breathe. Explaining to Kaoka that Africa is a huge continent with dozens of countries. And no, you can't drive there from America. Drive to Alaska, get a car ferry to Russia, drive down through Asia to the Middle East, and get to Egypt. Maximum 4 to 5 hour drive. Teacher in middle school was playing a cassette tape for the class that was a bit distorted, so she attempted to improve the audio by adjusting the antenna. In my communications class in high school, it came to my teacher's attention that a few people in the class, which had about 15 students, didn't have a basic grasp of world geography, so he pulled up an interactive world map on his computer and connected it to the projector. Okay, so this is where we are. This is? Class responds with North America okay, and down here, cursor is hovering over South America. Two girls expressed confusion over what it was, so he told them it was South America. Next, he moved the cursor over Africa. And both of these girls, in unison, with full confidence blurted out East America. Later in the lesson one of the girls said that she thought North Korea was in the center of the US, and that's why we have so many problems with them. My main concern was that I was in the same school district as them for all 12 years, and I wondered how the same system that worked for me had completely failed to work for them. Guy at my high school asked a biology teacher if humans photosynthesize. When told that we don't, he responded, "But how come, when I go in the sun my skin turns brown?" He was 18. During my senior seminar for an anthropology degree, a fellow student asked if married people started to look like each other as they grew old together because the genetic material they were exchanging during sex was becoming part of the other person's genome. Former co-worker of mine and I were walking through a department store during the holidays. There's an area dedicated to ugly sweaters and one had the Star of David all over it. My co-worker points to it and says, "Oh, isn't that sweater for that Jewish holiday? What's it called? Holocaust." I wish her the best.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day, peace.